Welcome everybody, Chris Lester here. I'm glad everybody's able to join us, and we'll go ahead and get started. Today's topic is Medicare's annual election period. All right, so Medicare annual election period, so it's October 15th to December 7th is the date, but it is not open enrollment. We'll touch more about this a little bit later on, but people quite often confuse this term, and they do have very different meanings, including the federal government. But what is AEP? Well, we're going to talk about who can make changes during the annual election period, what changes can be made. We'll go over common changes and enrollees make during this period, and what must enrollees do. We'll cover what you should be doing each year. So, first question, what is AEP? Well, again, annual election period, the CMS, that's the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, describes the annual election period, but they call it open enrollment, and it is not. But who am I to argue with the government? But it's this period from October 15th to December 7th as the time when all people with Medicare, so that means that you have Medicare right now, can change your Medicare health plans and or your prescription drug coverage for the following year to better meet your needs. New coverage, though, will take effect on January 1st of 2021. So if you're newly eligible for Medicare, right, you don't have to wait until AEP. This is a really important point because that is open enrollment, right? So you will use your initial enrollment period, IEP, to enroll. So let's explore what changes can be made. What can you do during your annual election period? Well, there are three main scenarios most likely that will apply to you. The first is if you have original Medicare, that's Part A and B, and a Medigap plan or supplemental, you most likely have enrolled in a separate Part D coverage as well. Or if you've elected Medicare Advantage, also known as Part C, you are currently enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan Part C. This typically would include a prescription drug plan, and we refer to it in the industry as a MAP-D, right? That tells us that somebody is in a Medicare Advantage plan. And another way to think of that is that's the private insurance companies have partnered with the government to create a plan to the general population. And then if you only have Medicare A and B, with or without Part D, if you're currently just enrolled in the Medicare Part A and B, with or without a standalone Part D prescription coverage, you can change some things. So for the first scenario, you are enrolled in Medigap. You can change Part D, which is a drug plan. So let's say you like your plan and your doctor's in your plan, but your health has changed. The drugs you're taking for whatever reason have dropped out of the formulary. You can change your standalone Part D prescription drug coverage right now. Now, you can also not only change your Part D, but you can enroll in a Part C. You can do that right now. So you can switch from your Medigap to your Medicare during this AEP period. And then lastly, you can change carriers. So if you're with a Medigap plan, and you decide that, for example, in New Jersey here, you have Humana, and Humana changed your rates, and you wanted to shop it, and you say, hey, this is too expensive, what else you got? Well, you can now change to Horizon Blue Cross, maybe a United Healthcare. So one of the major carriers you can change during this time frame. But here's a little known fact. You can do that if you have a Medigap plan. You can do that any time of the year. So if you're in a Med Sup plan, you don't have to wait until AEP to change your plan. So now let's say you're enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan. You got one of those special deals. You said, hey, I got a zero cost premium plan, or my plan only costs $50 a month, right? Well, you can change from one Medicare Advantage plan to another Medicare Advantage plan right now during this period. You can also apply to Medigap coverage. If you, for whatever reason, became disenchanted with your Medicare Advantage, your Part C, and you're going, you know what? I didn't realize that Medicare Advantage plan had such a high deductible, and I had a claim, and it cost me almost $7,000 to get all my hospital bills covered. You could change into a Medigap plan. Doesn't go into effect until January 1st, but you could do that right now. But here's something that a lot of people aren't aware of is you can add enhanced dental and vision coverage. So if you have a Medicare Advantage plan and for whatever reason you didn't look at or sign up for their vision and dental, I have a lot of retirees are like, hey, you have vision or you have dental. This is a way that you can get some of those supplementary benefits. So let's say you're enrolled in original Medicare. So these are your 4 things you can do. You can enroll in a standalone drug plan. So let's say you just bought it, but you were healthy. I didn't sign up for Part D. I didn't need it. But right now, all of a sudden, your health changed and you got high blood pressure. You can absolutely change your into a drug plan. Now, remember, sometimes so there could be a penalty for that delay. You can also enroll with Medicare Advantage, so Part C. If you decide that's a better option for you, you can do that now. And then you can apply and enroll in your Medigap plan. Right? So you can turn around and decide that I didn't like my current one, like I gave the example with Humana, and I want to go with United Healthcare through the AARP. You can do that too. And then you can change your Part D coverage. So that was just a recap. But let's make this clear. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. AEP is not open enrollment. Right? A lot of people get these terms confused. They think this is when they have to do it. This is only the election period that will now allow you to change your plan into next year. So the Medigap open enrollment period actually starts when you are 65 or older, starting Part B for the first time. And your Medigap open enrollment begins on the first day of the month that happens. And then you have 6 months until the last day of the month to step foot into a Medigap plan. So Medicare annual election period, though, right? This AEP that we're in now, this is a calendar. So a picture's worth 1,000 words. October 15th, which is today, through midnight of December 7th, then it's over. And then it goes into effect January 1st of 2021. So now that you know what you can do during AEP, what should you do? Well, you should use this timeline, right? So the first thing is watch your mailbox. And I'm not talking about the mountains of solicitations, insurance companies sending you, this or that, or when you go out to your local, now in COVID, people aren't going to Costco or Rite Aid as much, but, just all the information, the commercials you see on TV. I mean, it should tell you just something in general. It's if they're able to spend that much money on marketing, I mean, there's definitely some fat in these plans. But all rates are filed with the state. You have to be licensed to be able to offer these to clients. When you watch your mailbox, we want you to look sift through all that mail. And every year they're required to send you something called an annual notice of change, an ANOC. And also something called an evidence of coverage, an EOC, right? Love these acronyms. So your annual notice of change, read what you're doing very carefully, because you'll see right here, sometimes, staying put can cost you, but it's not as obvious always. I was looking at another annual notice of change, and what actually happened is that there was a 50% decrease in premium. But on the next line, the deductible went from 0. In this case, it stated 0. That's why the premium increased. But in the other one I was looking at, the deductible went to $390, or almost $400 a year. So there are no bargains in the insurance industry. So this stuff can get very confusing. You start to get the deer in the headlights look. So, these 2 notices are important. And then the other one is evidence of coverage. This is a very robust document. I'm not going to take time to go through all of this, but this really helps you to understand A, what you have, and B, what you're thinking of going to. So, understanding what you currently have is critically important. And we want to make sure that when you're looking at this stuff, if you want some help or guidance, this is a document that you need to have to do a fair apples to apples comparison. And then, so the AEP timeline, now you're going to compare your current plans to other plans on the market. So, call us at 732-302-1810, or the advisor that invited you to this call. Because of time, you can go directly to www.medicareful.com/Chris Lester/contact. If you put in your information there, that will now satisfy the scope of appointment. We can only talk to you at that point about Medicare. So we're not trying to cross-sell you or do anything, but we just want you to understand that we can be a resource. In the future, like I said, not only am I licensed to do Medicare, but my entire office is. So both Keith and Caitlin, if you can't get a hold of me, Caitlin is probably the most knowledgeable person I know. And if we don't know the answer, right, our back room, right, we have a wholesaler that has just been doing this for decades. So we can absolutely be a resource for you, help you sift through this mountain of information and make this easier. So then 3, enroll in a plan that best fits your needs or keeps your current coverage, right? Change is not always the answer. Just understanding what you have and how you might actually utilize it. I call it utilization, right? That's what the insurance companies are looking at. So if you have, we'll ask you to start to get your current drugs that you're on. Let's look at the formulary and make sure that your drugs that you're covered, that you're currently using are covered. I mean, there's rules and there's guidelines to be able to navigate this arena, and you don't have to do it alone. So, but that's what we're doing here during this period. The annual election period is helping you to navigate this field. So, Medicare annual election period, once again, I know I've beaten a dead horse here. It's from today until December 7th at 12 midnight. And so the last thing we want you to do, relax. It can seem stressful. We had one client that we've been helping because it was his open enrollment period. And he had gone in and he didn't know how to get into Social Security and Medicare, and he got locked out. And, we just have to be patient. That's why starting early helps. Breathe, relax, and we got him through, right? This is what we want to be for you as a resource. And at the end of the day, we're going to recap. So what is it? The annual election period is a time for current Medicare beneficiaries to change their Medicare coverage for the upcoming year if you'd like to. When is it? October 15th to December 7th. And then what to do? Review and assess your current coverage. Then decide if you need to make changes. This is not open enrollment, and there are limits on what you can do during this period. But once you finally decide that, hey, listen, let's say that you're on this call and you go, you know what, Chris, I'm good, I'm set, I understand it, I'm perfectly comfortable, no need to change. Well, bravo, perfect. But what we would ask of you is if you're somebody that's dealing with us in our office, I'm going to ask you to not keep us a secret. Please introduce us to somebody that you know that might benefit from having a little bit of TLC, tender loving care, and a little bit of hand-holding. So this is Chris Lester, Caitlin Urchik, and Keith Lester, all of us at Professional Planning Services and all of us at the Eagle team, extending our hands to you, saying thank you. We appreciate you. We want you to stay safe, but we want to be a resource for you. So if you have any questions, please reach out now or into the future, and don't keep this a secret. Have a great day. Bye-bye.